So in this probabilistic packet marking, consider for a moment that every intermediate router were to append its 32-bit IP address to each packet it forwards. A packet on the internet traverses about 10 hops on the average, so an extra 40 bytes would be needed to keep track of its paths from source to destination. So this is an unacceptable per packet overhead. Instead, existing but infrequently used fields in the IP header are used to keep track of the routers visited. Now, if you see the syntax of IP header, there are some of the fields which are unused. So, instead of adding 40 bytes extra to the packet, is it possible to make use of these unused fields of the IP header? So for that, if you see, the IP header has a 16-bit ID field. So this field provides the support for packet fragmentation and reassembly. Different networks have different restrictions on the size of the datagrams they can carry. They may split a datagram into 2 or more fragments and send each fragment separately. The router at the destination end has the responsibility for reassembling the fragments. To create the original packet, all the fragments carry the same number in their ID fields, so they can be identified for reassembly. On the assumption that the ID field is often unused, traceback schemes employing PPM use the ID field to store partial information on the intermediate routers. But here is a major problem, that the length of each IP address is a 4 bytes, which is 32 bits. How can a packet store router address information in a 16-bit ID field? So the answer lies in computing a global fingerprint for each router, that is, say 16 or fewer bits of the hash of a router's IP address. An intermediate router writes its fingerprint value into the ID field of a packet with probability P. Note that it could overwrite a previously written fingerprint of a router closer to the source of the attack. To identify the perpetrator of the attack, the ingress router at the victim end will need to collect a sufficient information of packets that are all part of the same flooding attack. We assume that each ingress router has a map of all upstream routers from it. So next one is a packet logging. Each router attempts to keep track of every packet that passes through it. Packet logging makes use of the idea of a packet fingerprint or digest. This is computed using a well-designed hash function, one that distributes the hash value uniformly across all possible hash inputs. An interesting feature of packet logging is that it can help trace even a single row packet. First, assume that each router stores each packet received by it in the last 5 minutes. Suppose the victim wishes to obtain the exact path followed by the packet received by it. The idea is that victim's ingress router A queries each of its adjacent routers where they have been sent the packet. Now if you see here, it's a probabilistic packet marking. Now suppose V is a victim over here and S is a source. Now if you see, V first sends a packet to the A, then there are so many multiple paths available. So now a router fingerprint in the ID field of IP header, if you see, the packet which is arrived at D has written the value as a D, which is not overwritten. But suppose the packet 2 which has routed to E first, but then after it has been overwritten by the C. So by using this information, we can go for detecting the attack. So we can trace back the source of the attack. Okay. A would query, now if you see, A would query B, H and G The router that responds positively, say B, then queries its neighbor C and M. So it is the upstream communication path. The one that responds positively then contact its neighbor and so on until the source of the packet is traced. The storage requirement can be further reduced by the use of a space efficient data structure called Bloom filter. Let n be the maximum number of packets to be stored in a router in a given interval, say 7 minutes. Each time an element has to be inserted, one or more hash functions on that element need to be computed. Let k be the number of distinct and independent hash functions used. K is a design parameter. The output of each hash function returns a w-bit quantity. The Bloom filter is basically a bit array. Let m equal to 2w be the size of this array. Packet insertion. When a packet enters the router, the k hashes are computed on its content. To speed up the computation, the hashes are only computed on the invariant part of the IP header and a small part of the payload, say 10 bytes. Suppose the k hash computations yield the values i1, i2, i3 till ik. These k hash outputs are used as indices into the bit array. To insert a packet, the bits in those positions are all set to 1. If one or more of them were already set, they remain set. Packet presence check. To check if a packet P is the present in the Bloom filter, compute the k hashes on it as done during the packet insertion. Suppose the k hash computation yield the values i1, i2, i3 till ik, then check whether each of the elements of the Bloom filter are set. If even one of these elements is equal to 0, P has not been encountered by this router. We next derive an expression for the probability of a false positive. Now these are the packet presence check for P1. So we are going to check it by computing its hash values, that is h1, h2, h3, and then we are going to check the bit set values for those, whether those are set to 1 or not. If any one bit value is a 0, then that packet has not been transferred from this router. Will come to the conclusion. Now probability a packet hashes to I1 is equal to 1 divided by m. Probability a packet does not hash to I1, it's a 1 minus 1 divided by m. Probability none of n packets hash to I1 with any of the k hash functions is equal to 1 minus 1 divided by m raised to kn. Probability at least one of the n packets hashes to I1 with at least one of the k hash functions, 1 minus 1 divided by m raised to kn. And at least one of the n packets hash to ik with at least one of the k functions is 1 minus 1 divided by m raised to kn raised to k. So it turns out that a reasonably acceptable false positive probability of 1% is achievable with k equal to 3 and m equal to 12 into n. This translates to a storage cost of only 12 bits per packet at the expense of performing 3 hash computations per packet. So this is considerably less than storing each IP datagram, about 500 bytes on average, or even storing just a 32-bit hash of the packet. So this completes your chapter Intrusion Prevention Detection System.